Number 5. Viewing alien craft test flights. In the world of unexplained phenomena and mysteries that challenge the boundaries of human knowledge, the story of Bob Lazar and his experiences viewing test flights of extraterrestrial spacecraft is a statement that deserves more explanation. Alright, picture this, folks. A secluded desert facility, shrouded in secrecy, nestled somewhere near the infamous Area 51. So this is where Bob Lazar claimed to have worked on a project. That would forever alter our understanding of technology and the universe itself. Bob's account begins with his recruitment into a classified government program, the likes of which few could even, wrap their heads around. He asserted that he was tasked with the remarkable mission of unraveling the propulsion systems of spacecrafts not of this Earth. These crafts, he described, were unlike anything humanity had ever conceived. What sets his story apart is his assertion that he didn't merely study these alien machines from afar. No, he claimed to have witnessed these saucers in action, undergoing test flights that push the boundaries of our understanding of physics. Now, I'm not a physics girly, so I can't get technical about this, but these were not just flights. They were demonstrations of technology that seemed to defy the laws of nature as we know them. Imagine being there on that fateful day, peering through the desert haze as the saucer-shaped craft defied gravity. Okay, wicked moment. I had to. Bob has recounted how these vehicles hovered silently and then in an instant accelerated to speeds that would have even the fastest fighter jets of this world in the dust. But the most mind-bending part was the way these crafts maneuvered, making right-angle turns without the slightest hint of inertia or g-forces. Bob's descriptions conjure images of technology far beyond our current scientific comprehension. He attributed the astonishing capabilities of these saucers to a substance he referred to as element 115. According to his accounts, the element had the power to generate a gravitational field, allowing these crafts to bend the very fabric of space and time. The implications of such technology are staggering, I know. It challenges our understanding of propulsion, gravity, and, the fundamental laws of physics, which is probably where my dad would argue with me today. If Bob's accounts are to be believed, which I do, we must consider the possibility that these extraterrestrial crafts represent a level of technological advancement that far surpasses anything humanity has achieved. Number 4. Giving credibility to the Tic Tac video. On November 14th of 2004, Lieutenant Alex Dietrich was piloting her FA-18 Super Hornet when she observed an oblong object hovering over the water. It leapt into motion, skimming 500 to 1,000 feet over the waves at around 500 knots. The fighter jet's onboard radar couldn't detect the object, but Alex's weapons system operator in the rear seat, whose name isn't public, witnessed it as well. She has quoted her recollection as we were trying to call out what we're seeing to each other and to make sure everybody else is seeing it. It's moving so erratically and so fast that our voices, our minds, and our radio calls can't keep up with it. Now, the majority of credible modern-day UFO sightings can't be credited to those that work in the Air Force, as it should be noted that military pilots are trained at what they call, REACE, and referring specifically in this case to the art of recognizing aircrafts by their shapes, paint schemes, unit insignia, and more. One of the other Super Hornets that launched behind Alex was Lieutenant Commander Chad Underwood, who was able to capture the object on an infrared camera. It was about 40 feet long, round and smooth, and quickly received the nickname Tic Tac. Around this time, starting on November 10th to be exact, Gary Voorhees, a petty officer on the USS Princeton guided missile cruiser, had been reporting apparitions on his radar screens in the same area. Now, triple checking his equipment before he made his report, and being the main technician responsible for the equipment, along with having 6 years of Navy experience at the time, he described what he was seeing as impossible. Once again, in just seconds, an object had dropped to the waterline from 60,000 feet, hovered, and then zipped away at high velocity, making right-angle turns that were quoted as being confounding and, defying gravity. The objects returned for the next week, with Voorhees quoted as saying, "I was able to see it on the horizon during the night and during the day. It was definitely a glowing object. Could I tell you for 100% certainty what it was we were tracking? No." Now, footage of this event used to exist, with Gary being able to vividly describe his memories, but has since been completely scrubbed from the internet. I'm just gonna give the government my usual dose of side-eye. Don't mind me. So what does Bob have to do with this? Well, when he was shown the Tic Tac video for the first time, it immediately reminded him of the Sport Mode, which was his name for the craft stashed in the desert. He said it's the exact same propulsion system that I just talked about a moment ago. Pretty wild. Number 3. Carpool to Groom Mountain. The stories about trips to the edge of Groom Mountain offer quite the glimpse into the mysterious world of classified government facilities. From what I've managed to gather, Bob, another government UFO expert by the name of John Lear, and some other folks took frequent trips to the area, recording footage that has since been hidden by the government, so sadly, we don't have access to it today. It's remarkable that Bob and his acquaintances managed to evade security patrols and record a videotape of strange glowing objects ascending from the mountain. For context, Groom Mountain is located over at Area 51, the super secretive government base where most government alien business tends to happen. The area is connected to the internal Nevada test site road network, with paved roads leading south to Mercury and west to Yucca Flat. If I pronounce that wrong, I apologize. Leading northeast on the lake, the wide and well-maintained Groom Lake Road runs through a pass in the Jumbled Hills. The road formerly led to mines in the Groom Basin, but has since improved since their closure. Its winding course runs past a security checkpoint, but the restricted area around the base extends way farther east. So John Lear's involvement adds another layer of complexity and validity to all of this. As a former CIA pilot who has spoken openly about his experiences near Groom Lake in 1989, this raises some questions about what he might have witnessed or been privy to. This revelation only adds to the enduring enigma surrounding Area 51 and Bob's claims, making it a captivating addition in the ever-evolving tapestry of conspiracy theories and government secrecy, forever giving them side-eye. Number 2, giving credibility to the gimbal video. If you don't already know, what exactly is the gimbal UFO sighting, and why does it have experts scratching their head and conspiracy theorists, hi there, buzzing with excitement? Let's dive in. So the gimbal UFO sighting took place in 2015, but was not publicly disclosed until December of 2017 when the New York Times broke the story. The video in question that got all the hubbub was recorded by U.S. Navy pilots during a training exercise off of the coast of Florida. What makes the sighting so extraordinary is the way the unidentified flying object moves. So in the video in question, we see a sleek white object with no visible wings or exhaust plumes hovering in the sky, and the most striking aspect is its rotation. If I sound like a broken record, hold on. The object seems to rotate or gimbal effortlessly, maintaining a stable orientation despite its high-speed movement. This level of maneuverability defies the laws of physics as we understand them. Gee, where have I said that before today? When Bob saw the original video, he said it had to be a gravity-propelled craft which mimics the propulsion system that he described. Now, let's unpack some of the key elements that make this sighting so intriguing. First and foremost, the behavior of the object challenges our understanding of aerodynamics and propulsion. It appears to defy the principles of conventional aircraft. Once again, there are no visible means of propulsion, no wings, no visible signs of conventional jet engines. This has led some experts to speculate about advanced propulsion systems or even extraterrestrial technology. Another perplexing aspect is the lack of visible exhaust or heat signatures. Typically, high-speed objects generate significant heat and their engines produce discernible thermal signals. Yet in the gimbal video, there's no such indication. This raises questions about the nature of the technology involved and how it manages to remain undetectable by conventional means. Moreover, the gimbal UFO's ability to rotate without changing its trajectory or speed is particularly confounding. In conventional aircraft, such rapid rotations would create immense gravitational forces, rendering the maneuvers physically impossible for human pilots, which has led some to ponder the possibility of advanced drone technology or, once again, extraterrestrial involvement. One of the most significant revelations regarding the gimbal UFO sighting is that it is just one of several similar incidents encountered by U.S. Navy personnel. These sightings occurred in restricted military airspace, making it highly unlikely that these were civilian or foreign military crafts. The consistency in the behavior of these objects across multiple encounters adds weight to the argument that it is something truly exceptional and unexplainable that is happening in our skies. While the possibility of classified military technology can't be dismissed entirely, the lack of any official confirmation or explanation from the US government only fuels, our truth. This sighting represents one of the most enigmatic and thought-provoking episodes in the history of UFO encounters. And with Bob's credibility, its behavior challenges the limits of our understanding of this entire world. Sure, while we don't have all the exact answers, and it's certain that this incident, along with others like it, continues to spark discussions about the existence of UFOs and aliens, those are mysteries that we may never know, and thanks to Bob, I think they're pretty credible. The gimbal UFO sighting reminds us that the universe is a vast and mysterious place, and there's much we have yet to discover and comprehend. Number 1, bone density scanners. I wanted to make y'all pay attention today, so I saved the most head-scratching information until last. So once again, Bob, a man whose assertions about reverse engineering extraterrestrial spacecrafts at, Area 51 have long raised some eyebrows, but there's been some newfound support in the form of quite the revealing photograph. No, not that kind. Not here. Thanks to filmmaker Jeremy Corbell's tenacity, Bob's narrative has been bolstered, if you will, with tangible evidence. The photograph hails from a classified U.S. government program conducted at Nellis Air Force Range, located very close to, Area 51. What's remarkable, though, is how closely the depicted hand scanner aligns with Lazar's detailed descriptions. When presented with the photo, Bob was taken aback by the confirmation and reflected, saying, "I never thought I would see one of these again." So what did he see? It was a biometric scanner, he explained, designed to measure the length of hand bones to grant access to the mysterious SF area. There were slits and pins and a light fixture above it, and it scanned your hand to measure the bone length in your hands. Pardon me, I'm suddenly very curious about how the length of my bones confirms that I'm human. Interesting. Were aliens really so tiny that the scanner could tell a difference? Did nobody with dainty little hands work at Area 51? Sure, hand scanners might be a little more common nowadays, but Bob has been talking about all of this for around 30 years now and has never changed his story. His skeptics might need to rethink their positions, as this unexpected piece of evidence casts quite the shadow of credibility over his extraordinary claims. Granted, I doubt most of us needed the additional proof at this point, but let me know if that helps at all.
Alright, we're going to start this little video essay off by talking about Bob Lazar himself. Who is he? What's his history? What's his deal? To some, he's just a conspiracy theorist. To others, he's a highly learned physicist and genuine whistleblower who shared top secret information regarding secretive government operations in Area 51. He got a lot of attention in the late 80s for his claims of having worked on reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology at a secretive government facility near Area 51. Born on January 26, 1959, Lazar's background and education are controversial. It's hard to find genuine documented evidence of his education history. There are discrepancies in unverified credentials with what he's claimed versus what's actually documented and out there. Some argue that a lot of his paperwork was wiped by the government to try and discredit him after going public. Lazar stated that he earned degrees in electronics and physics from the California Institute of Technology and MIT, but there's again a lack of concrete evidence to support these educational claims. Now, we'll get into some of his claims about UFOs and aliens. I'll be going over these more in detail, but just in general, Lazar alleged that he worked at a classified facility called S4, located near Area 51 in Nevada. All kinds of stuff went on there. It supposedly housed aliens, there were alien autopsies, but according to his claims, he was involved in research related specifically to alien spacecraft, which he described as a flying saucer powered by element 115, a substance he claimed could produce anti-gravity effects. In '89, Lazar came out with his story, discussing his experiences, revealing details about his alleged work at S4 and the technology he claimed to have encountered. He's probably best well known for his appearance on Joe Rogan and the documentary Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Flying Saucers. His claims have of course been met with skepticism from the scientific community and experts in various fields. Many have pointed out inconsistencies in his story, including the lack of corroborating evidence and the unverified nature of his academic background, but some believe his accounts are genuine, that there's this big government cover-up going on. Others just think he's either out of his mind or a hoaxer, and that's what we're here to explore with you today. So I mentioned element 115, let's break that down a bit. Now Lazar claimed that element 115 was the fuel source for the alien spacecraft he was studying. According to him, this element could be used to produce anti-gravity effects, allowing the UFOs to travel vast distances in a way that defies known physics. Now, there is an element 115, but according to scientists, it's much different than what Bob Lazar reported. In the conventional periodic table, element 115 is a synthetic element with the atomic number 115. It was first synthesized in 2003 by Russian and American scientists at the Joint Institute for Nuclear Research in Russia and at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California. The element is highly unstable and has a very short half-life, making it challenging to study it. But Bob Lazar claimed that he had allegedly encountered element 115 years before it was ever discovered. According to his accounts, element 15 served as the fuel for an advanced alien propulsion system. Lazar stated that this element, when bombarded with protons, would generate a gravitational field, allowing the spacecraft to achieve propulsion by bending space-time around it. If this technology is a thing, it would revolutionize space travel as we know it. We could perform faster than light travel and actually start traveling through space. So were his claims genuine and the technology he was working on has just been covered up, or was he just spinning tales? I'll expand with my final thoughts later at the end, but it's hard to say. Next, let's go over S4. Bob Lazar claims that S4 is a secretive government facility near Area 51, a top secret research base where he was hired to work on reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology. He was hired due to his expertise in propulsion systems and his background in physics. Lazar alleged that S4, he worked on alien spacecraft recovered by the US government. According to him, the facility housed several flying saucers of extraterrestrial origin. These crafts were powered by that element 115 we just discussed. One specific alien spacecraft Lazar described was nicknamed the Sport Model. He claimed to have studied the vehicle extensively, focusing on understanding its propulsion system and attempting to reverse engineer its technology for human use. He also detailed all the strict security measures at S4. It was protected by armed guards, there were biometric scanners, and there were extensive background checks for everyone who worked there, which is not surprising. There's heavy security in any government or military facility, so a top secret one housing aliens, this is to be expected. Lazar went public with his claims in the late 80s, revealing his alleged experiences at S4 to investigative journalist George Knapp. This story got a lot of attention, and there were tons of public debates whether conspiracy theories surrounding government involvement. And there were tons of debates with conspiracy theories surrounding government involvement with extraterrestrial technology. An interesting side note about the whole S4 thing is that there was an archaeologist named Jerry Freeman who kind of snuck his way into Area 51 in 1997, or at least the restricted area surrounding it. He wasn't looking for aliens, mind you. He was actually on a trek to retrace the steps of the famous Lost 49ers. He wrote all these journal entries on his experience avoiding authorities, camping out at night, and trekking throughout the day with limited water and supplies. He didn't mention alien stuff much, but on one day he'd climbed a ridge above NYE Canyon looking down on Papoose Dry Lake, which is just south of Area 51. And that night he saw some lights. One looked like it was coming from a security vehicle, and one was kind of stationary but seemed to grow and shrink in size. It looked kind of like a hangar door opening and closing. So could this have been the S4 facility? Even if it wasn't, it was still a military facility of some kind within Area 51. Who knows what it's used for. And finally, let's touch on the alleged government threats Bob Lazar faced when he started going public with all of this information. I mean, that's the big question that comes to a lot of people's minds whenever big conspiracies like this are revealed, right? If this stuff is so top secret, then how has he gotten away with talking about it? Well, after Bob Lazar went public with his claims, he stated that he faced government threats and harassment. According to Lazar, after disclosing his experiences, he was subjected to intimidation tactics intended to silence him. He also reported incidents of phone tapping and surveillance with mysterious unmarked cars that would follow him around. He also claimed that he received anonymous threatening phone calls warning him to stop discussing his work at the secret facility. He also stated that his house was raided by government agents who confiscated various documents and materials related to his work on extraterrestrial technology. He maintained that these actions were aimed at discrediting him and preventing him from sharing more information about his experience. And that spotty educational history too that I mentioned. Lazar claims his records were tampered with by government officials also to discredit him. The only thing the government hasn't done is actually force him to shut up, which a lot of people point at as the number one sign that everything he's talking about is just total nonsense. The government must just not care about what he's talking about at all. And in fact, it could be a great distraction from other nefarious practices going on that they actually want to keep secret. And this is very plausible. It's also very plausible, though, that the government figures, you know what, who cares if he's talking? Most folks probably won't believe him And the ones that do have no way of proving the claims to the public, so may as well let this top secret info hide in plain sight in a way, right? The whole subject is just a total rabbit hole. It never ends. And for the sake of preserving my own sanity, I'm just gonna close things out with my final thoughts here. So just summing up my thoughts on Bob Lazar and alien life in general. In the case of Bob Lazar, it's difficult to come to any solid conclusion because his claims are kind of unfalsifiable to the general public. Only those who actually work in Area 51 know the absolute truth. To us on the outside though, it's like, yeah, maybe he's lying, but how can you really definitively prove that he is? Sure, there's the discrepancies with his educational background, but according to him, again, that stuff was tampered with in an attempt to discredit him to the public, which would make sense. If I was a government official who wanted to deal with a whistleblower, discrediting them and making them look foolish and untrustworthy would probably be a much better option than making them disappear, for example, which would only raise more questions and make people more suspicious. But then again, maybe he really is just lying about his education. As for the alien claims, it's hearsay. Maybe he saw something, maybe he didn't. We can't see it with our own eyes, so until we actually know what goes on in Area 51, as if we ever will, the possibility of there being aliens is just that, a possibility. But what about the likelihood of aliens in regards to Area 51, or just the presence of alien life in general? Well, it's become very cliched to say this, but it is very likely that there is some form of alien life out there. Space is far too vast for there not to be, so let's just get that part out of the way first. The question is really whether aliens have interacted with us here on Earth yet or not. All I can say here is that I've never seen anything myself. I've heard stories. Lots of stories of people's first-hand accounts. I've even heard a couple stories from people I know directly, like personally, who said they've seen some suspicious things hovering in the sky that they couldn't explain at the time. I'm not sure where I stand on it myself, but I can say it's not that far-fetched to me. The idea that there could be aliens and their technology, being studied in a government facility in the middle of Nevada is far more believable to me than any ghost story I hear.
Number 4. Lazar asserted that UFOs were propelled by gravity waves. In 2016, scientists confirmed the existence of gravitational waves aligning with Lazar's assertions. Gravitational waves are ripples in the fabric of space-time that are produced when two massive objects such as black holes or neutron stars accelerate and collide. These waves travel through the universe at the speed of light, causing tiny distortions in space-time as they pass through. This groundbreaking discovery has opened up a whole new field of study in astrophysics and has revolutionized our understanding of the universe. It also lends credibility to Lazar's claims that gravity waves could potentially be harnessed for futuristic propulsion technology. But what exactly are gravity waves and why were they so difficult to detect? These questions have puzzled scientists for decades, but now with advanced technologies such as the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, LIGO, we are finally able to observe and study these elusive waves. Gravity waves are a fundamental part of Einstein's theory of general relativity, which describes how gravity works in the universe. According to this theory, any object with mass causes a distortion in the fabric of space-time, like placing a bowling ball on a trampoline. As objects move through this distorted space-time, they create ripples or gravitational waves that spread out through the universe. However, these waves are incredibly small and difficult to detect. They can only be observed when massive objects collide or merge, creating a strong enough disturbance in space-time for us to detect. The first detection of gravitational waves by LIGO was made in 2015 and confirmed the collision of two black holes over 1 billion light years away from Earth. This discovery not only proved Einstein's theory of general relativity, but also opened up a new way for us to observe and study the universe. In addition to confirming Lazar's claims about UFO propulsions, this breakthrough has also sparked interest in potential applications of gravity waves in other fields such as communication and transportation. Could we one day use gravity waves to travel through space and time just like Lazar claimed? While we may not have all the answers yet, the discovery of gravitational waves has certainly pushed the boundaries of our knowledge and understanding of the universe. It serves as a reminder that there is still so much left to discover and explore in this vast and mysterious cosmos. And who knows, perhaps one day we will unlock the secrets of gravity waves and use them to propel us to new frontiers. The possibilities are endless, and it all starts with Lazar's bold claims about UFO propulsion. So let's keep an open mind and continue pushing the boundaries of science and exploration. After all, as Lazar himself said, the more you know, the more you realize there is still left to know. Number 3, 51. While initially met with skepticism, Lazar's assertion of the existence of a secret military base named Area 51 was eventually acknowledged by the US government. Located within the Nevada test and training range, this highly classified zone has sparked countless conspiracy theories and captured the public's imagination for decades. Prior to becoming known as Area 51, the land was used for testing military aircraft during World War II. In the 50s, it became a site for top-secret projects by Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works division. The U-2 spy plane, A-12 Oxcart, and F-117 Nighthawk were all developed and tested at Area 51. However, it wasn't until the late 80s that Area 51 captured widespread attention due to a series of UFO sightings in the surrounding area. This led to speculation that the government was hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life or technology at the base. The government's continued refusal to acknowledge the existence of Area 51, combined with reports from former employees and whistleblowers, only fueled these conspiracy theories. In 2013, as part of a declassification effort to boost transparency, the CIA publicly acknowledged the existence of Area 51 for the first time. However, they did not confirm or deny any details about the base's activities. Despite the acknowledgement, Area 51 remains a heavily restricted area with access limited to only those with proper security clearance. The exact nature of the work being done at the base is still shrouded in secrecy, making it a continued subject of fascination and speculation for many. As interest in Area 51 continues to grow, so do the evidence, so do the events surrounding it. In recent years, the popularity of storming Area 51 and uncovering its secrets has become a viral sensation, and despite the potential consequences, large groups have attempted to storm the base in search for answers. While none have been successful thus far, these events have only added to the mystique and intrigue surrounding Area 51. Whether fact or fiction, the legend of Area 51 continues to captivate and intrigue people around the world. Its status as a highly classified military base only adds to its allure and makes it one of the most talked about locations in modern history. As long as secrecy surrounds this mysterious base, speculation and curiosity will continue to fuel the mythology surrounding Area 51. So while we may never know the truth about what goes on behind its walls, the fascination and speculation will likely endure for many years to come. So whether you believe in UFOs or not, Area 51 remains a fascinating and enigmatic piece of American history that continues to capture our imaginations and spark our curiosity. And finally, UFOs in government possession. Lazar claimed that the US government was in possession of extraterrestrial technology. The Pentagon's admission of possessing off-world vehicles not made on this Earth in 2020 lends some credibility to his claims. If the US government does indeed possess alien technology, what implications could this have for society? The idea of the US government having possession of ET technology raises a lot of questions about how this information would impact society. While some may believe that it would lead to advancements in science and technology, others fear potential negative consequences. One major concern is the potential for government secrecy and control over this advanced technology. If this technology is being kept hidden from the public, it could lead to a power imbalance and limit progress in certain fields. On top of that, there may be concerns about how this technology would be used, potentially for military purposes or surveillance. Another implication is the impact on our understanding of our place in the universe. The existence of ET technology would suggest that we are not alone in the universe and could potentially challenge religious beliefs and societal norms. There is also the question of how this information would be disclosed to the public. Would it be sudden and all at once, or slowly revealed over time? Either way, it would undoubtedly have a significant impact on society and could cause widespread fear and panic. The potential for this technology to be reverse engineered and replicated could revolutionize many industries, but also lead to ethical concerns. It would require careful consideration and regulation to ensure responsible use.
Number 5, sporty UFO. In the 1989 interview that started these whole leaks, the claims sounded like Hollywood sci-fi. But months later, when his identity was revealed, Bob said that he worked at a secret facility where alien technology was being reverse engineered, meaning, taken apart to figure out how it worked and whether the Pentagon could duplicate it. Hey, the premise seems less absurd now. Bob said that his job was to help with reverse engineering one of the 9 flying saucers, which he alleged were extraterrestrial in origin. He claims one of the flying saucers, the one he coined the Sport model, was manufactured out of a metallic substance similar in appearance and touch to liquid titanium. Bob said the propulsion of the studied vehicle ran on an antimatter reactor and was fueled by the chemical element with atomic number 115, which which I'll touch on more later, I promise. In a subsequent interview that November, Bob appeared unmasked and under his own name, where he claimed that his job interview for work at the facility was with contractor EG&G and that his employer was the United States Navy. Bob said the craft he was working on was dismantled, and the reactor he studied was topped by a sphere or semi-sphere which emitted a force field capable of repulsing human flesh. Ugh. He further explained that the craft was split into 2 main levels. So the reactor was positioned at the center of the upper level, with an antenna extending to the top, surrounded by 3 gravity amplifiers. These were connected to gravity emitters on the lower level, which could rotate 180 degrees to output a gravity beam or anti-gravity wave. In 1989, Bob said the seats of the saucer he saw were approximately tiny human-sized, and that he had seen alien cadavers of a corresponding size. He's mentioned that the main craft he worked on would aim its belly to the target and then bring all the amplifiers to power, and then fly off in that direction with the belly or bottom forward. If that description of a spacecraft tilting sounds familiar, I'm assuming you're familiar with the gimbal UFO. So the Pentagon released the video back in 2017, where naval pilots encountered a fleet of the, unknown craft off of the coast of Florida in 2015, and have since had dozens of similar encounters. In the gimbal video, there's a mechanistic turn against the wind without deceleration, which means a craft without rotors, without heat signatures, plums, without tail fins, and certainly no tail number, moving in a way that is counterintuitive to aeronautics. When Bob saw it, he said it had to be a gravity-propelled craft, which mimics the propulsion system that he described. Okay, how about we take a look at another now famous UFO incident, the 2004 Tic Tac encounter. So the Navy pilot who engaged the Tic Tac, Black Aces Commander Dave Fravor, said he doesn't believe the astonishing craft was made on Earth and that the propulsion might be anti-gravity. So when Bob was shown the Tic Tac video for the first time, it immediately reminded him of the sport mode. His craft stashed in the desert? He said it's the exact same propulsion system. Former Pentagon intelligence officer Lou Elizondo was in charge of ATEP, the secret Pentagon study. He told the I-team one goal of the project was to determine the physics of UFOs, how they can achieve the seemingly impossible. The military came to believe that the craft relied on special metamaterials, stuff that can't be made with known technology. Bob made these claims decades ago and was ridiculed, but what do you know? The Pentagon is now on the same page. Number 4, Element 115. So, alien technology, Element 115, and Bob Lazar. A trifecta of intrigue that beckons us into the depths of the unknown. So let's embark on this cosmic journey together. Element 115, also known as Moscovium, sits at the heart of Bob's claims. It is said to be the key to extraterrestrial propulsion systems. So imagine a substance so exotic that it bends the laws of physics as we know them, fueling spacecrafts capable of defying gravity itself. Yes, Wicked fans, that one was for you. This element, if harnessed, could revolutionize our understanding of propulsion and open the door to interstellar travel. By the way, let me know in the comments where you'd go first if you could travel anywhere in the blink of an eye. But Bob doesn't stop there. He asserts that these alien crafts use Element 115 to create gravitational fields. Bob's claims that the propulsion of the studied vehicle that he reverse engineered ran on an antimatter reactor and was fueled by the chemical element with atomic number 115, which at the time was provisionally named unpentium and had not yet been artificially created. This concept might seem like pure science fiction, the idea of bending space-time to move through the cosmos at will, but it's at the core of Bob's narrative, challenging the very fabric of our understanding of physics. But let's dive deeper. Bob claims that Element 115 could be a game changer for medicine. By manipulating gravity through this element, surgeons could operate with unparalleled precision, potentially reducing trauma and making recovery a lot faster. The idea of gravity-free surgery might sound like something out of a sci-fi novel, but Bob insists it could be real. Now, onto something that could transform our world. Clean energy! Bob suggests Element 115 could be the answer to our energy woes. If it can indeed create stable anti-gravity waves, it might pave the way for an energy revolution. Clean, limitless power, free from the constraints of fossil fuels, is a tantalizing prospect. And finally, le pièce de résistance, Element 115 as the linchpin of alien technology. Bob's claims paint a picture of flying saucers powered by this incredible element, vessels that defy our current understanding of engineering and physics. It's the stuff of science fiction dreams, or in my case, reality. Bob's assertions about Element 115 and its role in alien technology beckon us to expand our horizons. Whether these claims are rooted in reality or fiction remains a mystery, but they invite us to ponder the boundaries of human knowledge. The cosmos, it seems, still holds secrets that continue to captivate our imagination and drive our quest for understanding. Number 3, bone density scanners. Alien technology and bone density scanners. Two seemingly unrelated topics, yet they intersect in the fascinating narrative of Bob. So let's unravel this intriguing connection, shall we? So we all know Bob. I've been talking about him all day. Reverse engineering crazy stuff. So let's see where advanced extraterrestrial science meets our very bones. Bob asserts that element 115, yeah I know, the substance I mentioned a moment ago, a key player in this narrative, isn't just about propelling UFOs, but has applications much closer to home. In the realm of medical technology, bone density scanners are a crucial tool for assessing bone health. But Bob's story takes this mundane device and infuses it with an otherworldly twist. He suggests that element 115, the same substance at the core of alien propulsion, could be used in these scanners to create gravitational fields. So just imagine stepping into a bone density scanner, and instead of conventional X-rays, you're bathed in a field that gently manipulates gravity. Yes, it's kind of like sci-fi, but Bob insists it could be real. By using the properties of element 15 to create a localized anti-gravity effect, these scanners can provide more accurate and non-invasive assessments of bone density. Okay, so why does this matter? Well, for starters, it could revolutionize healthcare. Accurate bone density measurements are crucial for diagnosing conditions like osteoporosis and for assessing fracture risk. Traditional methods involve exposure to radiation, but an element 115 powered scanner could potentially eliminate that risk entirely. As someone with lifelong bone and tendon injuries, I wish we could have this technology now to be able to more accurately scan the state of so many conditions. Moreover, the technology Bob proposes could lead to a deeper understanding of gravity itself. If we can manipulate gravity on such a small scale, what does that mean for our broader understanding of this fundamental force in the universe? It's a question that transcends bone health and ventures into the very fabric of our reality. Now, I know, skepticism is a crucial component of scientific inquiry, and Bob's claims have faced their fair share of scrutiny. Yes, element 15 isn't exactly a stable element in our periodic table, but that doesn't mean the concept isn't worth exploring. Science often progresses by entertaining unconventional ideas and testing their validity. The story of element 15 and its potential application in bone density scanners reminds us of the profound interconnectedness of scientific concepts. What starts as a tale of alien technology could, in the hands of an imaginative mind, spark innovations that reshape the way we approach healthcare and even our understanding of the universe itself. In the ever-evolving tapestry of human knowledge, it's the unconventional ideas and uncharted territories that often lead to the most profound discoveries. So as we contemplate the implications of element 115 and bone density scanners, we're reminded that the quest for knowledge knows no bounds, and the boundaries of what's possible are constantly expanding. Number 2, hand scanners. So while Bob's assertions have long raised some eyebrows, he has found some newfound support in the form of a revealing photograph. No, not that kind. Not here. Thanks to filmmaker Jeremy Corbell's determination, Bob's narrative has been bolstered with tangible evidence. So the photograph hails from a classified US government program conducted at Nellis Air Force Range, located in close proximity to, where else, Area 51. But what's remarkable is how closely the depicted hand scanner aligns with Bob's detailed descriptions. So Bob, taken back by the confirmation, reflected that he never thought he would see one of these again. Okay, I know. What was it, Alexa? You jumped ahead. I'm getting to it. It was a biometric scanner, he explained, designed to measure the length of hand bones to grant access to the, illustrious, crazy, mysterious SF area. There were slits and pins in a light fixture above it, and it scanned your hand to measure the bone length in your hands. Sorry, I'm suddenly very curious about how the length of my bones confirms I'm like human and not an alien. Were aliens really so tiny that the scanner could tell a difference? Does this have anything to do with bone density? Did nobody with dainty little hands work at Area 51? Sure, hand scanners might be a little more common nowadays, but Bob has been talking about all of this for around 30 years now, and has never changed his story. Look, skeptics, you might want to rethink your position, since this piece of evidence kind of adds to his credibility. I know, most of us probably didn't need that, but it helps. Number 1, secret documents. Bob has claimed that during his joining the program, he read briefing documents describing the historical involvement of Earth for the past 10,000 years with extraterrestrial beings described as gray aliens from a planet orbiting the twin binary star system, Zeta Reticuli. I feel like I mispronounced that, so I apologize, folks. Your girl's tired today. While this may not be the technology we're looking for in terms of a high-tech sense, low-key tech is still tech, and documents require technology. As of September 2019, no extrasolar planets have been found in that system, according to government experts, but we all know that they can lie to us about that. So for the uninitiated, what the heck is this? So it's a wide binary star system in the southern constellation of the Reticulum. From the southern hemisphere, the pair can be seen with, the regular eye, as a double star in very dark skies. Based upon parallax measurements, this system is located at a distance of about 39.3 light years from Earth. Both stars are solar analogs that have characteristics similar to those of the Sun. They belong to the Zeta Herculis moving group of stars that share a common origin. So you might be asking, okay Alexa, what does this have to do with aliens? Well, does everyone remember Skinny Bob? The video that showed up on YouTube in 2011, showing a collection of leaked videos with an alien being interrogated by some government agency? Okay, so it was like a typical gray type entity shown being interviewed and examined, supposedly as some sort of diplomatic exchange, And he says he's from the Zeta Reticuli star system, sent as part of an envoy to discuss matters of mutual concern. According to the videos, the aliens would be escorted by special officers and only meet with high-ranking officials. Although several aliens are claimed to have been present, the one most prominently featured was, Skinny Bob, the one we all know. He's very thin, slouched over, with an oversized bald head, slit-like mouth, large eyes that seem expressive and blink, and claw-like hands. Apparently there were more interviews between 1942 and 1969, but we've only got a few clips, which is pretty typical. Normally you see Skinny Bob sitting at a table during a telepathic interview, and then we see footage of him from head to toe, showing the overall build. We also see a shot of it within a pool of some sort, where there's liquid where it would supposedly sleep. I'm all for a waterbed. Now, apparently the aliens were often filmed without their consent, which kind of went against all of the documents they signed. The diplomatic exchange of it all matches up with what we know about Area 51 being a place for secret meetings, though. And more. Number 5, build a UFO. In the 1989 interview that started these leaks, the claim sounded like Hollywood sci-fi. Months later, though, when his identity was revealed, Bob said he worked at a secret facility that I'll talk more about later, where alien technology was being reverse engineered, meaning, taken apart to figure out how it worked and whether the Pentagon could duplicate it. Look, the premise seems a lot less absurd now. Bob said that his job was to help with the reverse engineering of one of 9 flying saucers, which he alleged were extraterrestrial in origin. He claims that one of the flying saucers, the one he coined the sport model, was manufactured out of a metallic substance similar in appearance and touch to liquid titanium. Bob said that the propulsion of the studied vehicle ran on an antimatter reactor and was fueled by the chemical element with atomic number 115, which, once again, I'll touch on later, I promise. In a subsequent interview that November, Bob appeared unmasked and under his own name, where he claimed that his job interview for work at the facility was with contractor EG&G and that his employer was the United States Navy. Bob said the craft he was working on was dismantled, and the reactor he studied was topped by a sphere or semi-sphere which emitted a force field capable of repulsing human flesh. He further explained that the craft was split into 2 main levels. So the reactor was positioned at the center of the upper level, with an antenna extending to the top, surrounded by 3 gravity amplifiers. These were connected to gravity emitters on the lower level, which can rotate 180 degrees to output a gravity beam or anti-gravity wave. In 1989, Bob said the seeds of the saucer he saw were approximately tiny human-sized, and that he had seen alien cadavers of a corresponding size. He's mentioned that the main craft he worked on would aim its belly to the target, and then bring all of the amplifiers to power and fly off in that direction, with the belly or bottom forward. If that description of a spacecraft tilting sounds familiar, I'm assuming you're familiar with the gimbal UFO? So the Pentagon released the video back in 2017, where naval pilots encountered a fleet of the unknown craft off of the coast of Florida in 2015, and have since had dozens of similar encounters. So in that specific video, there's a mechanistic turn against the wind without deceleration, which means a craft without rotors, heat signatures, tail fins, and no tail number, and it was moving in a way that is counterintuitive to aeronautics. So when Bob saw that video, he said it had to be a gravity-propelled craft, which mimics the propulsion system that he described. So okay, if you don't believe me on that one, how about we look at another now famous UFO incident, the 2004 Tic Tac encounter. I've talked about this many times. So the Navy pilot who engaged the Tic Tac, Black Ace's commander Dave Fravor, says he doesn't believe the astonishing craft was made on Earth and that the propulsion might be anti-gravity. So when Bob was shown the Tic Tac video for the first time, it immediately reminded him of the sport mode, which, like I said, that was his name for the craft stashed in the desert. And he says it's the exact same propulsion system. Former Pentagon intelligence officer Lou Elizondo was in charge of ATIP, the secret Pentagon study. He told the I-Team one goal of the project was to determine the physics of UFOs, how they can achieve the seemingly impossible. The military came to believe that the craft relied on special metamaterials, stuff that can't be made with known technology. And hey, Bob made similar claims decades ago and was ridiculed. So what do you know? Now the Pentagon's on the same page all of a sudden. Number 4, what is Area 51? So sure, today everybody knows that Area 51 is the common name of a highly classified United States Air Force facility within the Nevada Test and Training Range. As a remote detachment administered by Edwards Air Force Base, the facility is officially called Homey Airport or Groom Lake, depending on who you ask. Okay, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Don't tell me. I'm sure it'll come to me eventually. Oh, I got it. It's home to all things unknown, and lots of alien and UFO believers, such as myself, are pretty sure that that's where all the flying discs and more tend to be housed. It's commonly thought to support the development and testing of experimental aircraft and weapon systems. Now, it has never been declared a secret base, but all research and occurrences in Area 51 are top secret or sensitive compartmented information. So make of that what you will. The CIA only publicly acknowledged the base's existence on June 25th of 2013, following a Freedom of Information Act request filed in 2005 and declassified documents detailing its history and purpose. So, how does Bob play into all this? Well, we're gonna go back to 1989 when he appeared in that interview with investigative reporter George Knapp on Las Vegas TV station Klaus under the pseudonym Dennis and with his face hidden to discuss his employment at S4, a subsidiary facility he claimed exists near the Nellis Air Force Base installation known as Area 51. And once again, this was back in 1989, before Area 51 was the common knowledge it is today. He claimed that said facility was adjacent to Papoose Lake, which is located south of the main Area 51 facility at Groom Lake. He claimed the site consisted of concealed aircraft hangars built into a mountainside. He said that while walking down a hallway at S4 once, he briefly glanced through a door window and saw what he interpreted as two men in lab coats facing down and talking to something with long arms. Now, he doesn't think he saw an actual alien, but speculated that he saw a doll used as a reference for the size of the alleged aliens. So everything I'm discussing today about Bob probably took place at that mysterious place out in the desert. Area 51 is also believed to house material recovered at Roswell, the study of their occupants, and the manufacturing of aircraft based on alien technology. And also might be a place to host meetings or joint undertakings with extraterrestrials. It tends to be where the development of exotic energy weapons for the Strategic Defense Initiative or other weapons programs happens, possibly where they're working on projects to do with weather control, time travel and teleportation technology, and exotic propulsion systems related to the Aurora program. So many of these tend to do with, underground facilities at Groom or Papoose Lake. So, the S4 location first talked about by Bob, which is 8.5 miles south and includes claims of a transcontinental underground railroad system and a disappearing airstrip named the Cheshire Airstrip, after Lewis Carroll's Cheshire Cat, which briefly appears when water is sprayed onto its camouflaged asphalt and engineering based on alien technology. Number 3, contact with Zeta Reticuli. So Bob has claimed that during his, joining the program, he read briefing documents describing the historical involvement of Earth for the past 10,000 years with extraterrestrial beings described as gray aliens from a planet orbiting the twin binary system Zeta Reticuli. As of September 2019, no extrasolar planets have been found in the system, according to government experts, but we all know that they can lie to us about that. So for the uninitiated, what the heck is Zeta Reticuli? So this is a wide binary star system in the southern constellation of Reticulum. From the southern hemisphere, the pair can be seen with the regular eye as a double star in very dark skies. Based on parallax measurements, this system is located at a distance of about 39.3 light years from Earth. Both stars are solar analogs that have characteristics similar to those of the Sun. They belong to the Zeta Reticuli moving group of stars that share a common origin. So you might be asking, okay Alexa, what does this have to do with aliens? So does anybody remember Skinny Bob? If not, I'll refresh your memory. So a very curious video showed up on YouTube in 2011, showing a collection of leaked videos where you can see an alien being interrogated by some sort of government agency of sorts. It's a typical gray type entity shown being interviewed and examined, supposedly as part of some sort of diplomatic exchange, and here's the moment you've been waiting for. He says he's from the Zeta Reticuli star system, sent as part of an envoy to discuss matters of mutual concern. According to the videos, the aliens would be escorted by special officers and only meet with high-ranking officials. Although several aliens are claimed to have been present, the one most prominently featured was given the nickname Skinny Bob. The alien appears as a very thin, slouched-over figure with an oversized bald head, slit-like mouth, large eyes that seem expressive and blink, and claw-like hands. Now, there was apparently a whole series of interviews conducted with the creature between 1942 and 69, although only a few clips have managed to get leaked out. The most well-known clip simply shows Skinny Bob sitting at a table, apparently in a telepathic interview, after which we see footage of the alien from head to toe, showing its disproportionately long arms and overall build. After that, there is a shot of it within a pool of some sort of liquid where it was supposedly asleep. Now, according to the videos, the aliens were often filmed without their knowledge or agreement, with document 072-E supposedly describing an incident in 1961 where 3 of the beings realized they were being secretly filmed by a hidden device, which was considered a violation of their agreement. There was a treaty that stipulated that photographs and filming of the entities would not be allowed unless specific permission was given. The diplomatic exchange of it all matches up with what we know about Area 51 being a place for secret meetings and more. Number 2, Men in Black erasing history. So yeah, it's no secret the government has the power to erase or cover up whatever they want. And what they've done to Bob in an attempt to discredit him is a very clear example of that control. So Bob is adamant that his employment and education records have been erased and modified. So remember how I mentioned that he's a physicist? So Bob claims to have obtained master's degrees in physics from MIT and in electronics from Caltech, but mysteriously, both universities show no record of him. Now I get one institution losing records can be explained, as like a clerical error, but both losing records are a little suspicious. Earlier, I also mentioned how Bob claimed that his job interview for work at the facility was with contractor EG&G, and that his employer was the United States Navy, right? Well, EG&G stated it had no records on him, and his employment at a Nellis Air Force Base subsidiary has also been discredited by skeptics, as well as the United States Air Force. Once again, discredited or simply just erased by the government. Bob claims to have worked as a physicist during his tenure at the Los Alamos Meson Physics facility, but an inquiry into his position revealed his role to have been a technician for a contractor firm, and that he worked neither as a physicist or for Los Alamos. Not to sound like a broken record, but it's clearly the Men in Black at work here, and skeptics just need to understand that. Number 1, Element 115. Alrighty, the moment we've all been waiting for. What the heck is Element 115 and what does it do? So Bob has claimed that the propulsion of the studied vehicle that he reverse engineered ran on an antimatter reactor and was fueled by the chemical element with atomic number 115, which at the time was provisionally named unempentium and had not yet been artificially created. It was first synthesized in 2003 and later named moscovium. He said that the propulsion system relied on a stable isotope of E115, which allegedly generates a gravity wave that allowed the vehicle to fly and to evade visual detection by bending light around it. Now, no stable isotopes of moscovium have yet been synthesized. All have proven extremely radioactive, decaying in a few hundred milliseconds. In 2017, Bob's workplace was raided by the FBI and local police, which he theorizes was to recover element 115, a substance he said he kind of kept from the government lab. I don't blame him.